2023 proved to be a very stacked recruiting class, and 2024 followed right in its footsteps. In this video, I'll go over 10 players that really stood out to me this season. I'll go over their strengths and weaknesses and compare what I thought about them in the preseason, compared to what I think about them now. Delaney Gibb was the runaway Big 12 Freshman Player of the Year, and it's not hard to see why. She averaged 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists, while shooting 45% from the field and 40% from 3. It's becoming more and more common for freshman players to get handed the keys to the offense and be expected to lead the team. Delaney performed well, but BYU still lost a lot of games. Hopefully BYU is able to put more talent around her in her upcoming years. Delaney Gibb is at the top of everyone's scouting report, but she still finds a way to routinely score a lot of points on some good efficiency. Delaney Gibb doesn't have a speed or strength advantage against most of her opponents. She doesn't have a noticeable size advantage over any of her competition either. But she's able to get buckets because she excels at change of pace, has great touch around the rim, and is able to create her shot off the dribble while being a great mover off the ball. But a major weakness in her game is the turnovers. She averages 4.5 per game, which was the worst out of any player in the Power 5 conferences. Having a high amount of turnovers is expected for a freshman that has a very high usage rate. But the problem is her assists aren't making up for it. She had a negative assist to turnover ratio, which is something she'll have to fix for BYU to have any meaningful success next year. I would also like to see BYU take a much tougher non-conference schedule. Delaney will need to play tougher competition to properly prepare herself for the WNBA. Even though she struggled in the AmeriCup tournament, I'm really glad Delaney Gibb took on the challenge. I'd much rather a player struggle against tougher competition than be comfortable dominating against lesser skilled players. I'm very excited to see how the rest of her college career pans out. Liv McGill was an all-SEC freshman guard for the University of Florida. She was overshadowed by the insane play of Mikayla Blakes, but she still had an amazing season. She led her team all in scoring, assists, and steals. For the season, she averaged 16.5 points, 4.6 rebounds, and around 5 assists per game. If you asked me who the most underrated freshman in the country was, my answer 10 times out of 10 would be Liv McGill. McGill is someone who plays at her own pace. It's very hard to speed her up or slow her down. Her ball handling and driving ability are already on an elite level. She's great at knowing when to do a basic move to get to the rim, or size her defender up to create her own shot. Finding quality point guards is very difficult, especially for a program like Florida, who doesn't have the most notoriety for women's basketball. They need to do everything they can to keep her there. The biggest room for improvement for McGill is becoming a better three-point shooter and turning the ball over less. She averaged 4.4 turnovers, which was the third highest out of any player in the Power 4 conferences. She at least has a positive assist-to-turnover ratio, but it's still something she has to cut down. I'm more concerned about the three-point shooting. She's currently shooting 30% from the field. We've seen countless examples of players who don't particularly shoot a high percentage from 3, but never improve that part of their game, because they are so good at scoring anyway. McGill has to make sure to not fall into that trap. Michigan had one of the best freshman duos in the country in Syla Swords and Olivia Olson. They were essentially the women's college basketball equivalent of Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey. Syla Swords is someone the defender has to worry about at all times when she's on the court, because she never takes a possession off. Her left side three-point game is lethal, which makes defenders crowd her space. But when they get too close to her, she will either get to the mid-range area or drive all the way to the basket. She is great at finishing through contact, which most freshmen usually struggle with in their first year. When a play isn't drawn up for her to score, she is great at crashing the boards. She averaged 6 rebounds per game, which led her Michigan team and helped Michigan get a lot of second chance points. On top of being a great player for Michigan, Syla Swords has participated in a lot of action for Team Canada. She led Canada to a 3rd place medal in the AmeriCup tournament and helped them get a 4th place ranking in the Under-19 tournament. Syla Swords is someone that has gotten a lot of media attention and is without a doubt a very talented player, but I see a serious flaw in her game, which will limit her potential if she does not work on it. Syla Swords is very weak on the right side of the court. Every player has a favorite side of the court they want to attack, but it's baffling how much different Syla looks when driving right, compared to going left. It's pretty clear which teams throughout the season had a good scouting report on her, and which ones didn't. Eventually more teams are going to figure out her right-hand game is weak. so she will have to get a lot better in that area if she wants to have a college career, where she's a multi-time All-American. Olivia Olson was the co-Big 10th Freshman of the Year, and is the perfect complement to Syla Swords. She's a 6'1", 3-level scorer. She is incredible at recognizing mismatches and taking advantage of them. Her mid-range fadeaway game is absolutely lethal. She's already taller than most of the people who defend her, but even if they can get a hand in her face, it doesn't matter. She takes a lot of tough shots and is able to make them. The fact Olivia Olson is shooting over 45% from the field and over 38% from the three with the difficult shots she likes to take is mind-blowing. On top of her incredible off-the-dribble scoring ability, she moves very well off the ball. It's very clear this is a point of emphasis at Michigan. I love the fact Olivia Olson is working on her off-ball game, even though she's more than capable at scoring off the dribble. Being a threat even when the ball isn't in your hands will always keep the defense on their toes. Olivia Olson plays very similarly to Ace Bailey, the 5th pick in the NBA draft. A massive strength is their ability to make very tough shots, but sometimes that can be to a fault. Olivia Olson takes some very questionable shots sometimes. There are times where she will shoot a very contested pull-up, be off balance, or go right into a double team. I don't mind her taking difficult shots because that's part of what makes her so great, but it's not something she needs to do all the time. Finding the balance between taking tough shots and passing it out for a better one will be an important stage for her development. I'd also like to see a little bit more on the defensive side of the ball. She is a true shooting guard. Being able to score a lot is great, but you have to be able to stop the opposing player from getting the points right back. Overall, I'm very satisfied with her freshman season and expect great things from her moving forward. Kiyomi McMiller was someone I was extremely high on before the college basketball season started, and I still am. The ball handling skills speak for themselves, and she has incredible shot creation abilities to go with it. She has unlimited range, can hit pull-up jumpers, and has a nasty step back. When it comes to scoring the basketball, she has one of the deepest bags in the country. She's nearly impossible to stay in front of in single coverage, but she has routinely beat double teams and hit highly contested shots. On top of being a highly skilled player, she's one of the most fun players to watch. She can hit logo threes, she's going to break ankles, and she's going to hit some crazy mid-range shots. But there is a huge downside. Kiyomi can get any shot she wants, and has the ability to make them, which means a lot of times she will take a shot when she shouldn't. Kiyomi has the skill set to be a top 5 player in the entire country, and a top 3 pick in her respective draft class, but she has to change the way she plays the game. Like Olivia Olson, I don't mind Kiyomi taking tough shots. It's part of what makes her so special. The problem is that there are too many times where she misses wide open teammates, or takes a deep three-way too early in the shot clock. These plays look great when they go in, but are demoralizing when they miss, especially from a team perspective. One or two things will have to happen for Kiyomi to be successful in college and the pros. If Kiyomi McMiller wants to keep playing point guard, she's going to have to get her teammates a lot more involved in the offense. Or she could go the Kelsey Mitchell route, where someone else is the primary ball handler and point guard, and she's used as a pure scorer. I believe she'll figure it out and become an All-American, but she cannot repeat the type of season she had last year. Kennedy Smith was the #1 ranked recruit out of the state of California, and the 6th ranked recruit overall. She was a very big part of why USC made the Elite 8, and was the #1 Big 10 team in the regular season. What I really like about Kennedy Smith is, she's a great teammate. She cares about winning more than stats. There were many times where she made a lot of hustle plays for USC, and she took on the assignment of guarding the best player every game, which is a role not many people willingly sign up to do. Kennedy Smith does not get nearly enough praise for her defensive contributions. I thought it was an absolute robbery that she was not on the All-Big 10 defensive team. She's straight up one of the best defenders in the country, let alone in the Big 10. She's both great an off-ball and on-ball defender. She's great at denying players the ball, and when they catch it, she uses her length and lateral quickness to stop the opposing player. Even if they're able to drive past her, she's great at recovering and blocking the shot. Kara Lawson recognized how great she was defensively, which is a big reason why Kennedy Smith was put on the AmeriCup team and helped us win gold medal. With Juju being out and Kiki entering the draft, Kennedy will have to take a much bigger offensive role. She'll need to improve her three-point shooting and get better at shooting free throws. 68% is not an ideal percentage for a guard, especially since she's a better driver than shooter at this time. Toby Fournier had a pretty interesting season at Duke. It's not very often you will see a player come off the bench and only average 20 minutes per game, but lead a team in points per game. There isn't a player where the stats lie more than Joyce Edwards and Toby Fournier. They don't have crazy numbers, but it's clear they are very important to their team, and in many games they were the best player on either side of the court. Toby was able to add a lot to an already good defensive Duke team. Her athleticism combined with her size made pick and rolls against her effectively useless. She's someone that can defend a guard driving at the rim, just as well as she can defend a bigger player trying to back her down. And we saw flashes of the dominant force she can be on offense. She had 9 20-point games this season, and many games where she finished well over 60% of the field. It's just about getting this type of production more consistently. I try not to speculate on these kinds of things, but a part of me does wonder if Toby was dealing with lingering injuries throughout the season. It would explain the bizarre lack of playing time she was getting, and she didn't participate in any Team Canada activities, which is something she has done for several years, not to mention her athleticism was very inconsistent. There were some games where Toby was jumping out of the gym, but other games she clearly wasn't getting the same amount of lift. But regardless, there are things Toby will need to improve. She's shown flashes of having a jump shot, which is a massive step above what she did in high school, but I'd like her to shoot more. Her free throw shooting of 65% definitely needs to get better. The more burn she gets on offense, the more teams will resort to fouling her. Even though she played well, I think we'll see the real Toby Fournier next season. Ariana Robertson will be coming back from injury, which means Toby can move to the power forward position, which is where she really needs to be to shine. Toby is very good in the high post area, but that's not something we were able to see much of this season. Joyce Edwards last season averaged around 13 points per game, 5 rebounds, and went 52% from the field. She didn't have the craziest counting stats compared to other players, but the impact she had was massive. There were many games where Joyce Edwards took over and was the best player for South Carolina this season. Her most important game being when she had a double-double against Texas in the Final Four while dropping 6 assists. Joyce is a very good ball handler for her size. She's 6'3", but has the ability to dribble on a fast break or take someone off the dribble in the half-court side. She also has a very good mid-range jumper. This makes her very dangerous in the high post area, but she's also a good low post scorer because she has so many post moves she can go to. I was very surprised by this because defense was her strong suit in high school, but Joyce Edwards needs to get a lot better on that side of the ball, specifically her perimeter and help defense. In theory, she should have the length and mobility to defend guards on the perimeter if there's a switch, but that was not the case. She also rotated too late when playing help defense a lot more than I would like. She also needs to get better at slowing the game down. There were a lot of times where Joyce Edwards would catch the ball and rush into a post move or a jump shot. She got a lot better at this towards the end of the regular season, but it started happening again in the playoffs. That being said, Joyce Edwards had a great freshman year, and I expect a lot more in the upcoming years. That being said, Joyce Edwards had a great freshman year, and I expect a lot more in the upcoming years. Jaloni Cambridge is someone I've been a huge fan of. She's part of that Rory Harmon, J.J. Quinterly prototype, an athletic short guard who plays both sides of the ball and can drop some dimes. Jaloni Cambridge speed and court vision translated right away. She's very difficult to stop in transition because a lot of players simply can't keep up with her. In the half-court offense, she's good at getting to the mid-range area, blowing by slower defenders, and facilitating the offense. In high school, she always hit the open teammate, and college has been no different. She averaged 4 assists per game her freshman season, and if Ohio State adds more shooters around her, this number can easily jump up to 6 or 7 per game. Her performance was enough to become a co-Big 10th Freshman of the Year. It's very strange it was a co-award when Cambridge was the only freshman to land on the Big 10, all-conference first team. But Olivia Olson is also a really good player, so it doesn't bother me too much. Overall, I'm very satisfied with the season Cambridge had. But I'd like to see more improvement in her three-point shooting. She also needs to work on her finishing. The players are much bigger and stronger in college, so it's not surprising that she struggled with that aspect of the game. But it's definitely something she will have to improve over time. To say Mikayla Blake's exceeded expectations would be the understatement of the century. She was the 8th ranked recruit in her class, but she's more like a top 8 player in the entire country. Blake's for the season averaged 23 points, and just over 3 rebounds and 3 assists per game. She shot 45% from the field while being at the top of everyone's scouting report in the toughest conference in the entire country. but her most impressive feat wasn't even playing for Vanderbilt. In the AmeriCup tournament, Mikayla Blakes was on a court with Hannah Hidalgo, Flau'jae, Madison Booker, and Olivia Miles, players that will be top 5 picks in their respective drafts, and she found a way to stand out as only a 19-year-old. If she's this good now, who knows what the heck she will look like when she's a senior. What stuck out to me was Mikayla Blake's finishing ability. She isn't the strongest, and definitely isn't the tallest player in the world, but she finishes through contact very well. The elite touch she has around the rim is rare, especially for someone as young as Mikayla. Mikayla Blake's had the season I thought Kiyomi McMiller would have, in terms of being an unguardable scorer who shows flashes of being a really good playmaker. Blake's is extremely skilled in a lot of areas. She's a 3-level threat who can both score off the dribble or in off-ball situations. There's not a gaping flaw in her game, but if she can continue to work on her passing and become a more consistent defender, she has the ability to be a top 5 player in the country. I'll admit, I severely underestimated Sarah Strong. I thought she would make a couple of All-American lists and be a key piece for UConn in winning a championship. That was a career projection, but she's already accomplished those things as a freshman. I was not expecting her to be a top 10 player this fast. She's Alyssa Thomas with a jump shot. If you don't have an Ashlyn Watkins type player who is tall, strong, and athletic, which almost no team has, I don't think it's possible to stop Sarah Strong. There's just way too many things Sarah Strong can do. You can't back off of her because she's an incredible shooter. You can't double her because of her amazing court vision. If you try to press her, she can take you off the dribble. And in the post area, she has too many post moves to really stop her. The scariest thing to me is that she made Kiki Irifan, who was a WNBA All-Star, look like an amateur basketball player. A lot of people were criticizing Kiki for struggling against UConn, but I think it's become clear it was because Sarah Strong is just built different. What impressed me the most about Sarah Strong is her defense. This is something that plagues most stretch forwards in college, like Maddie Westbeld, Addie Brown, and Alyssa Peely, but Sarah Strong is an incredible low-post defender. She uses her strength to wall up players, and her incredible basketball IQ stops her from fouling. I never doubted Sarah's strong offense, but I was very wrong about the defensive capabilities she would have on the next level. The fact Sarah Strong finished the season shooting 58% from the field while averaging 4 3-point attempts per game is absolutely insane. And it's not a case of it being just because she was feasting on Big East opponents. Her averages actually went up during March Madness. In the NCAA tournament, she averaged 19 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists while shooting 64% from the field and 50% from 3. Sarah Strong quietly had one of the greatest postseason runs ever. I very rarely say this about a player, but Sarah Strong is the closest you could get to a perfect player. I don't think there's a real flaw in Sarah Strong's game. She could become faster and even stronger, and work on her lateral quickness. But honestly, she just has to keep doing what she's been doing. I'll wrap up this video by going over the freshman projections for the 8 players I covered last off-season. This is something I want to follow up on every year, to give feedback on whether or not I feel the same way I did when I originally scouted the players. I also plan on doing scouting reports on a lot more players in next year's class, as there were many talented players last year I wasn't able to get to. Toby Fournier did end up winning ACC Freshman of the Year, and made All-ACC like I predicted a year ago. As long as Kara doesn't restrict her minutes, I still think she'll be an All-American next year. Kate Cavall was ranked higher than her. Speaking of Kate Cavall, even though she ended up making the All-Freshman team, I definitely expected more out of her this season. I really wish she would have given Notre Dame another year. She would have been the second option, and gotten a lot more playing time to develop her skills, especially compared to a team like LSU that can't afford to have a center play through a ton of mistakes. I don't think there's any real chance of her being an All-American next year, like I originally predicted. Joyce Edwards did end up becoming an All-SEC player, but did not win SEC Player of the Year, which is pretty funny because the past several years being All-SEC first team would have been enough to be the Freshman of the Year as well. But Mikayla Blakes had one of the greatest seasons out of any freshman in the SEC. I'll forever be impressed that Mikayla Blakes was able to dominate a physical, fast-paced conference so early in her college career. I still think Joyce will end up being an All-American multiple times in her career, and for Mikayla Blakes, that's a given. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what I was thinking with my Sarah Strong career projections. I literally called her a female Jokic, but only had her being an All-American twice. I'll definitely hold the L on this one. Kiyomi McMiller did not end up making an all-Big Ten team. She had the numbers, but between Rutgers losing so many games and her leaving mid-season, it's not surprising she was left off of it. She's going to put all-American numbers up next year, no doubt about that. It is just whether or not Penn State wins enough games. Kaylee Heckel did not end up making the Big Ten all-freshman team. She's someone I was very high on, because I'm a huge fan of athletic guards who play both ends of the floor. She has all the tools to be an elite player. She just has to play more under control and develop better point guard instincts. Hopefully UConn will do that. Kennedy Smith did end up making the all-Big Ten freshman team, and I have no doubt in my mind she will end up making the all-conference team next year. Defensively, she's already one of the top players in the conference. All she has to do is work on her shooting. Defensively, she's already one of the top players in the conference. All she has to do is work on her shooting. Jaloni Cambridge ended up being the Big Ten Freshman of the Year. This was a controversial pick at the time, especially considering the amount of talented freshmen coming in that conference. She was already a Big Ten first-team player as a freshman, so I don't see any reason why she won't be able to do it next year as well. But that's it for this video. Which freshman impressed you the most this season? Are there any freshmen you think will have a major breakout season next year? I'd love to hear your thoughts. As always, thanks for watching.